Hey everyone, we are back. We have Anuj Kodam, who is the founder and CEO of WallApp, who's going to talk about NFTs beyond just profile pictures and what are all the use cases for NFTs here. Thank you, Anuj, and over to you.
Hey Manav, thanks for this spot, and excited to interact and talk with people who are just getting into NFT space and just give my understanding of sort of how I look at the space. So without much, I'll just kind of quickly jump into the topic that we're here to talk about. Um, what are sort of NFTs beyond PFPs? For those of you who are kind of familiar with NFTs, and what is your understanding of NFTs, please do keep sharing on the chat as we go along with this conversation. Um, so even first, I think before talking about sort of NFTs beyond PFPs, it's sort of important to just talk about what was the market like, what was the thing, how it started, and what happened before PFPs, and how PFPs made a big dent in the overall market, and then what sort of the things that we're seeing happening beyond. I think late, although the first PFP projects probably started way back in 2017, and some small projects before 2016 at the start. But I think the whole boom kind of, as you all might know, sort of happened in late 2020, early 2021. And That's when sort of sports collectibles in the, so that era, possibly we can call it as like a collector market, where a bunch of people were looking at different things to collect, as digital collectibles became a thing. And NBA Top Shots was one of the first things which really brought it to mainstream adoption. And US having this whole market of people wanting to collect antique items, sports cards, collectibles. So this was very natural for people to jump onto it, and that's how we, even today, we see a lot of the market. NFT market is actually based in US, UK, and Canada, and sort of Europe. And So sports collectibles came, and then there was this interesting phenomena of digital art started becoming a thing, and people started collecting digital artworks. And memes, which were the original artworks of the internet, also started kind of getting popular. And we saw like massive sales of like over 200 ethereum happening for 9 cat and these sorts of things. And this is where certain marketplaces sort of started coming up. And then came the PFP era. I think this was one of the most interesting switches in the whole dynamic. And honestly, a lot of people were not expecting this to pan out this way. Primarily because there was this whole idea that one of one, and the artist have to kind of keep things as less as possible. You should possibly do like 10 artworks, and this kind of notions everyone is trying to figure out the meta. And that's when really PFPs came out of nowhere, where they were like 10,000. I think 10,000 was the number for, don't know for what reason it was chosen, but I think that's very interesting that apes was one of the first things which really brought mainstream attention to it, where they launched a 10K collection with CC0 and the whole aspect of rarity, which brought in a lot more speculation than just one of one artworks. So one thing came, the digital collectibles thing came, but then this brought in a different kind of a trader who is a flipper, who is now trying to find the rarest of the items, and kind of started speculating around these things. And then legit NFT started becoming an asset on which there was a bunch of speculation that started happening. And
Hello, Anuj.
uh, Disconnected in the middle, I believe.
Yeah, no worries. Yes, we can hear you now. Okay, we are losing. No worries. I think so. There's some connection problem at Anuj's end. Meanwhile, guys, why don't you share, as Anuj mentioned, what does NFT means to all of you? So we'd like to hear everyone's perspective. Anybody about NFTs?
I'm not sure. Think I'm getting keep getting disconnected. Is
All
this
right,
fine
no
now?
worries. Yes, it's fine now.
Yeah. So yeah, so like I was talking about sort of PFPs, what really started happening is the speculators market has begun, and this brought in a very interesting dynamic where a volume was coming in and people were flipping for shorter time frames, which wasn't the collectors' mindset. Collectors were looking to collect something for years, and this actually pumped the volume very very hard. Where in the month of April in 2021, the monthly volume was like $177 million, and they shot up to 12.5 billion per month in just like somewhere between like 8 months. And this is where I think most of you started hearing about NFTs and sort of listening what's happening in the space. And that is when I think now we're slowly moving into the consolidation phase, and a lot more of the, so this obviously brought in a lot of mixed bags too, right? Like as you can expect, like what happened during the ICO era of 2017, where a bunch of projects were launched without really looking at the fundamentals.
Hi, Anuj.
I think it's showing up some error, like I'm connecting from another tab or something like that and just getting disconnected. I'm not sure what's up. Anyways, quickly, I'll just kind of talk about it, and maybe we can move into something else
Sure,
as we go ahead.
sure.
So yeah, I think that's when the post PFP era, where we started seeing I call this the utility market, where now sort of, even though PFP still dominate the market by a large, gaming and sort of utility is picking up traction, with a bunch of utilitarian things coming around, like Proof Collective, which is one of the latest ones which have done really well, which is an OG club of people who are together. There are alpha groups and like mint passes and sport passes and analytics and these sorts of things that's happening. And just considering this, how do you sort of get started? If you're looking to get started, first and foremost, it's important for you to sort of choose an ecosystem in which you want to play, considering your bankroll and the average trade in average price of an NFT. So if you are looking to make anywhere trade between like $500 to $1,000, maybe Ethereum is good, and maybe you want to start like at $100, Solana, Polygon, Arbitrum are some of the good ones. And I think we're going to listen to Treasure too, is one of the upcoming ecosystems which is doing pretty well, and something which you can start it off very small too. And the other second aspect of it is also to think about the projects the right way. When I say right way, it's also thinking fundamentals, like who is the team, who is the people who are kind of started this, what is the collector base like, and what is the utility of these things, and how is the price action has been, what is innovation, and aesthetics and derivatives, and bunch of things to sort of think about when you're considering a project. And I have a screenshot on the side on, this is a screenshot from wall.app, where we actually provide analytics on collections. So we give a very 360-degree perspective on how to analyze a collection. We have, like, you can look at analytics of a particular collection and sort of see the price action and the holder stats and sort of sweeps and the big activities that's happening on a collection. All of these are very important data points for you to consider when you're making this decision. And then I think the last and the most important part is, once you select a collection that you want to enter, you want to start thinking about what's the right entry point for you. Just like any financial trade, the trade doesn't end until you enter and exit. So figuring those things out is also some of the important things. And There are a lot of resources out there for you to the first and foremost thing which I would suggest is just go to Twitter and follow a bunch of people who are active in the ecosystem to get the right sources of information. And then there are a lot of tools out there which help you find different projects from different vantage points, like whether you want to look at the highest volume things or um, things which are doing really well within certain sub communities, maybe something which is popular among Body Art Club, what is that collection, and these sorts of things. And the beauty about the overall ecosystem is that all of this is an open information, and there are different tools using which you can get that vantage point. Wall is definitely one of them, which you can also go and see. So yeah, I think from a standpoint of ecosystem, we are starting to see more and more projects which are just going beyond an IP value of certain things and starting to deliver different utilities. And as as things go ahead, I think we will start seeing a lot more of this happening, where NFTs will start becoming utility passes. They will start becoming subscription for certain things, and it will be an access to a certain exclusive club of things, or getting uh, information in real time, or the fastest and getting alpha. So yeah, all of the things is what sort of NFTs are sort of going towards. I think it'll be also great to have some questions and some interactions from the audience. Anything that you would love to know more about, happy to take any question and answers after this. And as I keep getting disconnected, I don't want to risk it more, and then would love to jump onto the questions. And basically, the question then is to buy or to not buy, and sort of that's the question that we are all trying to figure out at different points in time. So happy to open the thing for any question and answer. Yeah.
Thanks, Anuj. Guys, any questions for Anuj? Anything related to NFTs? Okay, so how NFTs help in gaming? Anuj? Piyush is
Yeah.
asking.
So in one of the things that we spoke about as a utility, NFTs, so game, so for example, right, like there was a recent massive sale of Other Side is the metaverse that was created for the Board API Art Club ecosystem. So the first thing that they did is they sold land for that metaverse. So holding a piece of land gives you an access. So what are the utilities of those things, we are still yet to know as the game is to be released. But your NFT, maybe the ape that you hold becomes a character within that, and so as a part of that game, you have the game character, which is the PFP, and then you have a land on which you own something. So maybe you start getting rewards out of it, or we don't know the specific dynamics of that game, but generally speaking, the in-game assets are represented as digital assets through NFTs. So holding NFTs gives you access to revenue, or even access to a game. So that's how NFTs sort of link in with play to earn games. So one of the most popular ones is Axie. Yeah.
I'm sure everybody has heard of Axie Infinity. Any other questions?
Someone is asking, NFTs are basically digital representation of any asset. Yeah. Um, like a deck of cards, or yeah, collectibles, right?
What about NFTs for tickets?
Yes, so I think since April 2021, Gary Vee has been sort of just raving about this, and I think that's one of the things which he dropped with VFriends is also holding a VFriends gives you access to VCon, which is a live event that's happening. And so in a sense, like NFTs, so think of NFTs in a sense that they are a proof of something, a proof of ownership of something. So proof of ownership can extend to many different things. Like I own a piece of land, NFTs can be representative of me owning a piece of land, to even having a ticket, to having like a subscription pass, to having a digital asset and all of that. And I'm sure like in 5 years down the line, we are most likely to sort of see a bunch of high profile events, and maybe even music conferences, sort of music festivals sort of happening through token gating through NFTs. And it's one of the ways in which, because people also want to keep a memorabilia that they attended something. So NFTs does a job well.
Anyone else?
Rohini asked a quick quiz. I don't know
Uh,
answer to that.
all right, okay. What is the common tech stacks used to create an NFT platform?
Yeah, so I think when you're talking about NFT platform, so first let's understand, where do NFTs reside, right? They don't reside on a platform, they reside on chain. So what do I mean by that? Say, let's say an NFT on Ethereum, like other deed. Other side, it's an ERC 721. It's just a fancy name for defining an asset on Ethereum of NFT, and that is lying on Ethereum chain, where a transaction is going through. Whenever you're buying or selling or creating it in the first place, that goes as a transaction on Ethereum, and then that metadata of that information is lying on IPFS. So all of this is open chain, open infrastructure, on which the NFT is residing, and hence it is transferable. Hence you own it, because your wallet is where you hold it. So it's not really on a platform. So that is why maybe when you go to OpenSea and open your wallet, you see the same NFTs, and when you come to Wall and open your wallet, you see the same NFTs.
All right, I think so. That was your question was almost answered, Shijit. Uh, since Anuj is facing some technical issues, we will, and all the questions were answered. So we will be ending the session. Anuj is back.
I'm really sorry. I think there is some issue with AirMate where I'm just keeping getting disconnected. Yeah, I have no
No
idea.
worries. No
Yeah.
worries. No worries. All right. We have the last question from Lakshay, Anuj. What about a place where creator can come learn and practice NFT like testnet marketplace?
That's a great question. Like right now, I personally do not know of any things where testnet trading is happening, but paper trading we feel is one of very interesting features which we have been considering building at Wall ourselves, because it really gives people an opportunity to trade without really trading it, right? So, and I don't know an answer where there is a testnet marketplace. But I think hopefully, if you just follow us on Twitter, keep up with up to dates, and like maybe a couple of months down the line, you'll find it at Wall.
All right. What should be the business sustainability on NFT? All right. This is the last. This is an interesting question.
Yeah, I think so. Are you talking about like collections or NFT business as such? So maybe I'll take both the things. Like NFT as an asset class itself is something which has just popped in the cycle, and the amount of interest in the volume clearly shows it's here for there. And talking about the business model of it from a collection standpoint, what they're essentially doing is crowdfunding their initial building, whatever they want to do. So whether that is an IP or a game, they're essentially putting out an asset and giving a piece of action for that people to get that NFT and get a piece of that action. And then what is expected from them now is subsequently to build out products and ecosystems and games around it, which brings utility for holding that NFT. And it unfortunately, what's also going to happen is a lot of the projects which have sort of raised funds in 2021, 2022 are going to not be able to deliver and going to go down, and the speculative interest might also drastically reduce given market conditions. But I think just like anything, if you're in it for the reasons, you know why exactly you're in for the game, you're in for the utility, you're always going to be happy. And price action is something which is always going to go up and down.
All right. Thank you, Anuj. Guys, thank you for taking out time and sharing your thoughts and insights with the community members. Guys, stay tuned. Followed with this talk, we have a panel discussion. We'll be back with that. Thank you all.